One of the things that I think is challenging, that is underplayed and underthought about, is the emotions you get from your changing identities when you explore life. And it was something that I didn't think it would play as big of a role in my decision making, how I view the world, that I actually do. So what do I mean by that? Um, when you go from there is this kind of push, right, where you have to explore or get an education or look at the world, and there's this like very much a positivistic view, not positivist. It's very much viewed in a positive way, where are you're supposed to wander and explore different things. And by doing that, that is, um, the quote unquote right way of doing things. And I think that this idealism is very much borrowed by, Enlightenment thoughts, essentially, where from the Enlightenment period, this is like 400 years ago, um, people started reading books and they started going on personal journeys and views of the world that they never would have thought about. And by reading those books and looking at the world differently, they saw themselves differently. And this is very much built into the culture or ideology of modern day society. Um, and what's fascinating, I think a lot of conversations are sort of grappling with that at this moment. But what's interesting is I never would have thought that it played such a big role of me being, I don't know who I am. Um, you know, it was far easier to not wander around as much. Um, I've had to move away from my hometown, a long ways away, a different country. I moved in a very different, and I don't know if it's just the nature of the times right now, but it's very different in some ways from where when I grew up and how I grew up. Sort of the culture of where I live right now. Um, a lot of things are very foreign, and it's ultimately, we do have good friends and all of that kind of stuff, but it's not quite the same of moving away from your hometown or where you grew up. Um, and at the time when you move away, it's like this big adventure, right? When you go away. But on the other side, this is the thing that you sort of don't. I mean, you think about, but it's not as sort of a big deal because you downplay it, have that courage to get up and get going. Um, on the other side is, and it could be just sort of romanticizing, I guess. Romanticizing the past, but on the other side, it's you miss out on who you are and your identity, and you really have this sort of conflict that goes on inside in terms of thinking about, am I this person today, or am I who I was? And which one is it that actually matters? And I don't know. I mean, there's none of this. There's no right answers. There's no like, this is what I should do. And this is the right answer. But just be wary. And I'm not saying like not. I think my parents, for example, they were very much on the other side, that they wouldn't have explored anything. Um, But I want you to sort of think about things is like as you're exploring things, know that who you are and your, that's the best word I know of is your identities, right? Like how you view yourself and other people view yourself. How do you change? Um, and then it's not only like there's this emphasis on where we are going, but you often have to drop a lot of things of what you represented and what you were about in the past. And I see a lot of conversations in sort of modern society where we do have to drop some things in the past, right? Like some of the stuff that happened in the past was not great. Um, but, you know, what is it should we emphasize that we sort of don't lose ourselves completely? Um, and I want you to sort of think about that. You know, to give you an example, I'm romanticizing the past, but I do also remember a lot of times where I was very bored. Um, I didn't have enough to do. There was not like a sense of this is me feeling being there. Like a lot of negative things, but at the same time, um, I don't necessarily think some of those things were necessarily bad by default or that they were completely troublesome by default. And I was sort of struggling with myself, right? And I want you to sort of think about these as what is it you're about? And there's no right answers. There's not a single right answer. And think about reconciling all of these identities that we have as you sort of peruse and explore the world. Um, there's a lot to be said there and a lot to be thought about. All right, take care and have a wonderful day.